So recently I've been really interested in just doing odd projects with things that I've acquired over the course of time. One of those things being a 2009 iMac. I got this for the low price of free. I kid you not, these things, if you can come across them, are basically e-waste, or that's what most people think of them. And a previous job that I worked at was throwing this one out, and I was like, hey, I would like to have that. Well, flash forward a couple years, I decided to actually do something with it, and that something ended up working out pretty well. I thought, why not put Linux on this thing, seeing as how well it has worked on my Steam Deck, and see if I can't make a slightly underpowered but very effective and useful gaming machine on a budget of $0. And so that's what I did. So when I first started this project, I really needed to decide what version of Linux I wanted to go with. I've experienced a few different distros over the course of time, but I decided that Linux Mint was the one that I liked the best because it's super user-friendly, as well as it kind of feels a little bit like Windows in a lot of ways. So if someone came over or needed to borrow a computer, or if my wife wanted to use this one in the living room, I felt like it would be the most user-friendly for someone who's never really worked with Linux. Got it installed, didn't really have any issues. I planned on originally partitioning the hard drive so I would still have a little bit of Mac OS, but I messed it up, and so bada bing, bada boom, Linux is the only thing on here. After that, I set out to download a couple things that I felt like were just absolutely necessities. First one, of course, being Steam. Got that downloaded, logged in, it worked great. I turned on compatibility so that I could use different Proton compatibility layers to try to play games that were not initially supported on Linux. And that gave me some issues, but I'm getting ahead of myself. I booted up Portal as the first game that I tried, and it ran nearly flawlessly. I was very happy with that, even playing on an actual Mac mouse and Mac keyboard. I later learned that the Mac mouse, if you're going to do this yourself, is not a great decision because you can't hold the right click and the left click at the same time. But you know, these things happen. I learned that because of trying to play Sea of Thieves, which ran like dog crap on the actual hardware. However, it turns out it ran beautifully when streaming through Steam Remote Play from my actual dedicated PC that's in the stream room all the time to wherever I put this thing, even over Wi-Fi. It ran beautifully, except for the fact that you can't right click or left click. The next game that I tried actually on the computer was Portal 2, which ran mostly okay. I did have to lower the resolution, but I'm very impressed with Valve at how well they got their games to really work no matter where you're starting. I know these are older games, but even still. After I'd done that, I thought, okay, it's 2024. This is the year of the dragon. I love Spyro the Dragon. Let's try to boot up the Spyro Reignited trilogy, which did run, sort of. I got into the menu and it was so laggy and so bad that I thought, okay, let's just bear through this and try to get down to maybe the lowest graphical resolution that we can, which I did do after about 30 minutes of waiting for it to catch up and just going down as quickly as I possibly could. It didn't fix it. I tried anyway to go ahead and launch the game, and it just would not even start. Now, to be fair, the minimum requirements for that game are far beyond what this PC can do. But whatever. Next, I tried a few other odd and end games like Bread and Fred. I thought surely this older retro style-ish game, even though it's a new game, I thought surely it would play well. And it did come on, but it did not play well. No matter what I did to the configuring to try to get this to work, I even tried different compatibility layers, could not get that game to play well. So I decided that everything that is probably newer than like the PS2 era of Steam games, your mileage is going to vary, but it's probably not going to play that well. Everything older, seems to work pretty well. However, I wouldn't write it off because, like I said, when I played Sea of Thieves by streaming it from my actual computer to this one, it was almost a perfect experience. The only thing that I could tell was that it was a less Fidelis monitor. So surely this can emulate well, right? And that's mostly true also. Thank goodness, though, that there is a version of RetroArch that is on Steam, because the version of RetroArch that you get through the application manager for Linux Mint is trash. It's the old school layout. I hated it. I couldn't get things to load correctly. I couldn't get cores to open correctly. It was doo-doo monkey pants. Yes, that's an official term. But the Steam version was pretty great. Of course, you have to do some weird finagling to get different cores, like for PlayStation and actual Famicom NES. You have to kind of offload those and then browse your local files in Steam and dump those in yourself. I guess that's the way that Steam is getting around piracy. But once you do that, it was beautiful. The control configuration was great. It was the first time that this PC had worked well with an Xbox controller. The entire time that I tested it, for the most part, I could only use a DualShock controller. But it did run into a couple issues with N64. For whatever reason, it just would not even run the N64 files. It just wouldn't recognize them. It wouldn't look at them. Even when I tried to like manually put it in, it just would not run N64. I think that's probably a me problem. So if you've done something similar to this and you got things like that working, tell me what I'm doing wrong in the comments, because I don't know what to try anymore. The last thing I wanted to try, considering it streamed from Steam over Remote Play so well, had to be Xbox Cloud Gaming. Now, I had already noticed that Firefox, which comes pre-installed with most Linux distros, it was a little laggy. I only have 4 gigs of RAM. I don't have a lot going on in here. So I opted to go ahead and download Microsoft Edge. I know, everyone's least favorite browser, but it is the one that is recommended most for Xbox Cloud Gaming. Did that, logged into Xbox Cloud Gaming with no issues, booted up the brand new game Palworld that I really haven't had enough time to play yet, and it ran awful. The lag was very much noticeable, well beyond the point of unplayable, but this is an older machine. I was playing over Wi-Fi. I just knew that had to be the problem. So I turned it off. I found an old Ethernet cable, I ran that to my modem, and I hardwired it in, booted it back up, and wouldn't you know it, it didn't fix a darn thing. It still played like doo-doo. If it did improve it, it was so minute that it wasn't noticeable. So, if you planned on doing something like this yourself, I wouldn't do it for Xbox Cloud streaming. If you use some third-party apps like Chiaki, which I didn't go through, and you're playing off of a local network, kind of like what I did with Steam, it might work better because it did so well with Steam, but actually connecting over the internet like a cloud gaming service, it just didn't do it. It just could not compete. It couldn't keep up. I wouldn't recommend it for that. That's not the way to do it. And that's everything that I tried. I know there's a ton more things that I could do with this. Initially, my thought was to get this thing running well and maybe build an arcade cabinet, because it's so thin. Like, I could easily just slot this into an arcade cabinet, connect some type of fight pad, and what do you know, I have my own arcade. That was the plan. I also have something slightly newer. So if you guys like this video, please let me know by giving that thumbs up, subscribing, because I'd love to know if you'd like to see me do the same treatment to an old laptop. This is a 2010, I believe. No, this is actually older than that. I don't remember what this is. I'd have to go into the settings and see. This is a very, very old MacBook Pro, and Linux Mint breathed a lot of life into this. This is a little bit more portable, so if you guys want to see this, let me know in the comments. If you don't let me know in the comments, I'm not going to do it. And thank you guys so much for watching to the end of the video. I do really appreciate it. We are YouTube partner now, and that's only because of you. Thank you so much for that. Hey, if you're a Giant Pumpkin, which is our top tier of memberships, we actually do a monthly luncheon with me over Discord, and that's this Thursday. So you have enough time to go ahead and jump in and get that membership if that's something that you're interested in, or for a very, very measly cost of like $3 a month. You can get tons of specific emotes for this channel and support. Thank you so much for all of you that have already done that, and thank you so much for helping us continue our path towards the next tier of partnership. We need 1,000 subscribers to do it, and so it would really mean a lot to me if you considered smashing that subscribe button. Give me feedback in the comments if you like this type of video, if you want to see more of it. That all is read. I comment or respond in some way to every comment, and I would love to hear back from you guys. Thank you so much, and I hope you have the absolute best remainder of your week. And I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.